Hello everyone, and welcome back to This Week in Mythic Plus. Now this week we have Raging, which means that when below 30% HP, non-boss enemies enrage and do double damage. Necrotic, which means that enemies apply a healing debuff whenever they do damage that reduces healing done by 3% per stack. And Tyrannical, which means that boss mobs have more HP and do more damage. Tanks. Keep pulls to less than 7 this time because a big pull that enrages will be a wipe. Now whenever all of your pull does hit that less than 30% mark and does enrage, make sure you start throwing out snares and stuns, and if you are actively tanking during the enrage, make sure you pop a cooldown in order to survive. Also, since we do have Necrotic this week, whenever your stacks hit above 15, start kiting and let your stacks fall off before you re-engage the current pull. Also, make sure you use cooldowns on big boss damaging abilities because of Tyrannical this week. I would also strongly consider on-use trinkets this week, since they do provide a very strong cooldown that can be rotated in either with Raging Trash or with Tyrannical bosses. DPS. Bring your AoE and cleave spec this week. Whenever your current pull is at about 50% HP, begin throwing out snares to help your tank kite either with Necrotic or with Raging. Now when all the mobs hit below 30% HP and you do see them enrage, use your DPS cooldowns and do not hold back. This is the portion of their HP that you should nuke down as quickly as possible. Make sure you also interrupt any trash when they are raging, since normally the casters do a lot of damage. With Raging, they're just going to be hurting that much more, so interrupt and stun those casters. Also make sure to use defensive cooldowns on big boss abilities because of Tyrannical. Healers. Make sure you keep your tank topped off early on in the pull when his necrotic stacks are low. Now if your tank doesn't run out and his stacks get greater than 33, at that point you can no longer heal your tank. They are not receiving healing anymore, so just start using damage reduction abilities or help with stuns and snares. Now whenever your tank does hit above 15% stacks, your heals are only going to be about half as effective, so that's when you can start using those damage reduction abilities and helping them out if they are active tanking. And whenever a pull becomes completely raging, if you have any stuns and snares, go ahead and use them there so that your tank can continue kiting while the DPS nukes them down. Now overall this week it is a 9 out of 10. This is just about as difficult as Mythic Pluses can get. None of the affixes are easy and they are all always applied and always on. You're gonna lose a little bit of DPS this week because your tank has to keep kiting, has to keep moving, and this week requires everyone to be on point and knowing exactly what's going on with each pull. Also, if no one else is helping your tank stun or snare, this is just going to be that much more difficult for the tank and the healer. A big factor of wipes this week is going to be mini bosses, since they cannot be stunned and snared and they will actually enrage and apply necrotic. The biggest piece of advice for this week is to be patient with any PUD groups you run. This week you are not aiming to meet the timer at a +2 or a +3 difficulty. Given the difficulty of this week and the affixes, all you want to do is just complete the dungeon regardless of the time it takes. Be prepared for a lot of rip keys and a lot of frustration. Thank you all for watching, and as always, good luck out there.